Hello everyone, welcome to the rescheduled Beyond Books event. We're here, sorry about the delay, but we're ready to rock and roll. I am so excited for our first event, and we are starting off with a bang as always. We have an amazing lineup today. So without further ado, I will start. So today we are talking to renowned writer Dorothy Koomson, who brings the eagerly awaited sequel to The Ice Cream Girls. All My Lies Are True is a sequel but can be read as a standalone. All My Lies Are True is the 16th novel from Dorothy and is a story about love, obsession, secrets, and the devastating effects of coercive control. Dorothy shows that although new laws exist and our awareness of controlling behaviours has increased, the impact can still ripple down to the next generation. And this talk will be hosted by Jamelia, singer-songwriter, who has sold millions of albums and scored global #1s all over the world. She has won multiple awards, including 4 Mobos, a Q Award, and an Ivor Novella. In broadcasting, Jamelia has appeared on programmes on every major UK TV channel as a host, panellist, presenter, and guest. Jamelia's modelling career has seen her grace the covers of Cosmopolitan, Elle, and Time Out. She's also fronted campaigns such as Reebok, Pretty Polly, and Tony and Guy. Jamelia loves to act and has had roles in both movies and TV shows, as well as her chat show, The Table. Jamelia is currently working on album #4 and is developing her hair line for Afro hair. Amazing. And as I said, we were starting off with a bang, and I totally meant it. So throughout the event, we have the chat, which is located on the side of your screen. It should be on your right side. Please feel free to kind of drop any questions in there or any comments that you have as the talk goes on. We also have a expo section, which is where our book vendors are. So please, if you haven't already, make sure you get a copy of this book, please. And I think after this talk, you would definitely be doing that anyway. So without further ado, I would like to pass over to Jamelia. And we will keep you updated on the post-show event if we are moving the times or what's happening with that. So just keep up to date with us in the chat. And yes, I'll pass over to Jamelia. Thank you so much for both of you being here.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Hello. Good evening. As Danny said, apologies for the lateness. We had some technical issues. But I am sure that Ms. Dorothy Koomson is going to make it more than worth the wait. Before I start speaking to Dorothy, I just have to let you know how excited I am to speak to Dorothy. Dorothy is like my author's Beyonce. And I say this because, like, no, you literally are. Like, when I met Dorothy, I think it was earlier this year. No, last year, I think it was actually. Honestly, like, I was just speechless. For me, you know, they throw around that line, representation matters, but it truly does. And then when you get to meet someone who has provided that representation for years and years and years, and then you get to meet them in the flesh and they say they know who you are, it's just like, what? So yeah, so I am insanely excited to be here today and to speak to my Beyonce. You literally are. I told you this already, like you are.
Oh, bless you. You're so lovely. You're so lovely. And I would say sorry as well. This was a nightmare. We've been trying for over an hour to get in, haven't we? We've been sat there going, it's not working. Oh, I'm really sorry. I hate being late for anything. I hate being late. It feels like you're being rude, and we have been trying. It wasn't like, you know, just didn't think it was important. It was absolutely. I've been looking forward to this all day, so I'm glad we're here now. So, and thank you for saying nice things about me, because, like, you know, I love you. You know, I love you.
Come on. Okay, so let's just dive in. So, would you like to? I'm wondering, like, do we need to speak about Ice Cream Girls? Do you think, because I believe that All My Lies Are True is a standalone, but I kind of feel like if you've read Ice Cream Girls, then it's even better. What do you think we have to reference it to make people understand what's going on in this one?
Well, I made a conscious effort to make it so that you didn't have to read the Ice Cream Girls, because it gave you enough backstory from the Ice Cream Girls so that you can understand what's going on, and you can see the story, get a basic idea of the story. But I didn't want to regurgitate the whole Ice Cream Girls because there was another story to tell. But also, by the same token, I didn't want people to ruin it. If you want to go back and read the Ice Cream Girls after you've read All My Lies Are True, then you could do that as well without thinking, oh yes, it's and the ending particularly was really hard because I didn't want to spoil the Ice Cream Girls if you haven't read it. But I didn't want to kind of not resolve it properly. So yeah, so it's really difficult. But yeah, so we can talk about the Ice Cream Girls because that's the way it began. It began 10 years ago with the Ice Cream Girls, with the story of Poppy and Serena, two girls. Well, they were girls when they met Marcus, who was their teacher, and they both ended up having a relationship with him. And he basically groomed them into that relationship and then was abusive. And Marcus ends up dead, and they're both put on trial for it. But Poppy goes to prison, and Serena gets away with it. But getting away with it actually means just living with the fear that everyone's going to find out her secret, particularly her husband. And then 20 years later, after this, Poppy comes out of prison wanting revenge and wanting Serena to pay for what she thinks she did and for going to prison. So that's kind of the Ice Cream Girls. Poppy tracking down Serena, and also the way that Poppy's life has kind of fallen apart, and she has a very strained relationship with her parents. And then Serena, her husband and children kind of finding out who she really is and what she's really like. And so I moved it 10 years on. We kind of had an ending with the Ice Cream Girls, and quite a few people didn't like the ending because it didn't end how they thought it was going to end. And I think a lot of my books don't end how people. A lot of my books don't end how people want them to end or expect them to end. I don't often go for the traditional happy ending, shall we say. They they come to the end of that journey. So we're 10 years into the future, where in the first book we met Verity, who is Serena's daughter, and she has an idea that something went wrong between her parents' relationship, but doesn't really know anything about her mother until a stranger arrives one day and basically hands her a newspaper cutting, and then she kind of discovers who her mother really is, and that's where the story goes to in All My Lies Are True.
So when you were writing the Ice Cream Girls, did you have the idea to was your intention always to continue it, and did you want to continue it in this way? Like, it's 10 years later, did you just start writing it 10 years later, or did you decide that in 10 years time I'm going to write a sequel?
It was, over the years, I've always said I don't do sequels because, my characters go through so much and they get to the end and they're barely clinging on. So I don't feel like I should put them through any more grief and pain, and but it's all learning experience, and they do have some fun along the way. But I've always thinking I shouldn't really put them through too much again. And then it was Ice Cream Girls. They're kind of almost like they deserved it, really. I decided. No, I actually wanted to see if anything had changed, because there's so many laws have changed, and people are talking about coercive control and emotional abuse and mental abuse and how it all ties in together. And everyone seems to be so knowledgeable. There's so many books and films and articles, and that people have opened people's eyes. And I thought, has anything really changed? Has it got better? And it really hasn't. But my main focus was actually on the people on the outside of these relationships, the bystanders, the people who who see what's going on, do we step in nowadays, or do we just let it carry on, or do we kind of pretend it's all fine? And that's that's the main focus of the story. It's not so much on the abuse, but also the lies we all tell ourselves, the people who are in the relationship, the lies they tell themselves, and the lies of the people outside who kind of pretend that they don't know that their friend has changed, or their friend never has any money or time to go out or speak to them, and how we deal with that. So that's what, you know, and one of the things as well I wanted to play on, and for Serena and Poppy to find out that somebody they love is in an abusive relationship just like they were, but not too sure if they're the abuser or if they're the victim. And how that would play with your mind.
And I think that was really interesting. I mean, I have to admit, when I read Ice Cream Girls, and this I think this is what makes the time scale really poignant. When I read Ice Cream Girls, I found it really difficult because there was so much in the story that I could relate to. And then reading this, I kind of felt very, very differently, you know, and I think that it kind of indicated to me that you've grown. And how do you feel? Do you feel that over the last 10 years, the difference between the books, do you think that it displays your growth, even as a writer or just as a woman, or, you know? Yeah,
in all ways. I think it's all connected. I am who I am because of who I am, and I write what I write because of who I am. But no, I think it is all connected, and it is. Yes, I mean, my books have got very different as I've become a different person and older and learn more about the world. And I look back at some of my books and I think, if I was writing that story now, I wouldn't write it in the same way. But I wouldn't go back and change it. I you know. They might not be great, and there might be things in it about I cringe at, but I won't change them because they are part of my growth as a writer and of who I know. Some people have gone back and rewritten things. So, and also the world has changed, and the way I see the world has changed, and the way people are as well has changed. Like I say, we all talk a lot about emotional abuse and domestic violence and the elements of it. But what do we do with the talk? We talk about it, but nothing ever, you know, and at the same time as we're talking about it, when we're more aware, all the services that help people are all being stripped away, and they're all being, you know, and they're diminished, and it's just harder and harder for people to find an escape.
Absolutely. So why was this subject in particular something that you felt needed to be explored?
With all the subjects, it's kind of the things. It almost chooses me almost.
Okay.
With this one, with All My Lies Are True, I mean, I've been thinking about it. I think about all my characters. You know, when I finish the book, I think about them. Even though I'm not going to write a sequel, I still think about them and wonder what they're up to, and you know, and think, oh yeah, they'd be doing that right now. And with the Ice Cream Girls, I think a lot about Poppy and Serena, and whether I should have written a different ending, like I do with Me in Love Before. That's another one I think. Oh, so I've written a different ending for that as well. And then I sort of decided to have like I say, a lot of people were talking about those subjects. So I was thinking, I'd have a look and see if anything's changed, and nothing had. And then I got on the train. I wasn't going to do anything with it, and I just finished Tell Me Your Secret, and I was looking for the next book to write, and I got on the train and sat near this couple who were having this argument. And they, well, I say argument, he just basically sat there and took her to pieces. But he wasn't shouting at her. He wasn't swearing at her. He just quietly and softly spoke at her and accused her of all sorts of things, to the point that she started crying. And you know, and there's quite a few of us sitting around, and you just didn't know what to do. We were like, I mean, if you'd been shouting or violent, you can kind of step in and you know what to call the police, or, you know.
Of course.
But he just sat there and talked to her. And I just thought, you know what? It hasn't changed, has it? It's just, it's still there. And I want to explore that. What do you do about the quiet the quietly, calmly violent people. What do us on the outside? And that's what the book's about. It's about Poppy and Serena, who are in the middle of it, now being on the outside of it. And what do they do now? How do they stop being bystanders?
So did you kind of see it as a kind of an opportunity to, not that I'm very conflicted and I don't want to give too much away, but was it an opportunity for a type of redemption for them?
It was, and it kind of isn't as well, isn't it? Because they kind of end up in this, in it back together, and the worst thing for either of them is to see the other person in their lives, and you know, and then, I mean, when they had the big realization of how they're now, why they're back together, why she's back here, why I'm looking at this person again. It's almost like the worst thing in the world for them, because it reminds them constantly of what they went through when they were younger. So it was a kind of redemption, but it's also kind of a bit of a torture as well.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I'm quite conscious that we're talking specifically about the book, and I know some people haven't got the book yet. Why, I don't know, because, well, I've got mine. But if you haven't, I understand that kind of we might be speaking about things that you're unaware of. The book came out in, I think the actual date, because you sent me my copy, and I screamed for about an hour, by the way. I was literally running around my house like, oh my God. But I think the book did come out in lockdown. It was July, right?
Yeah, July. So it was very odd time. How was it affected by that? Like, you know, when it comes to things like promotion and stuff, like what would you have normally done to promote a book, and what was different this time around? Well, we were planning on doing a tour, so we're going to go touring around the UK, because I like going out and meeting readers and stuff, and then kind of it all went, oh yeah, we can't go anywhere. But you know, for me it was fine, because I'm used to being at home a lot and working at home and being at home. So I got to had a publication day lunch over Zoom, and you know, we all sat there and ate pizza together, and I've had quite a few events, online virtual events, and talking to people. And actually, do you know what? I've got to connect with different people, the people who can't get to events and who can get online, and that's been great.
Of course.
Yes, it's different, and you know, I keep reminding myself that this could be our new normal, so I just need to embrace it as much as I can. It's not easy, but I need to embrace it. And if it changes again, which is likely to do, I have to embrace that as well. But if I fight against it, then I will. And if I sort of like start lamenting the things I couldn't do, like go out and see a poster of my book, or go and see it in a bookshop, then I'll just make myself unhappy. So, you know, it's just different. It was just different from before, but you know, it's still got a bestseller list, and people still said they loved it, and people bought it. So you know, and it is difficult out there. It has been difficult. The book world has been difficult, because a lot of people had their books moved till last weekend, and last week 600 books came out.
Oh my goodness.
So can you imagine if you were one of those people who'd had to move your book from the beginning of the year, and suddenly like there's 599 others around.
Oh my
so I'm actually quite glad we didn't move mine, actually. We just left it, and you know, we took the rough with the smooth, and that's how I've been trying to get through lockdown, just kind of accepting that this is how it is, and I just need to embrace it as much as I can, and wait for the new normal.
There's been a lot of pressure for people to produce in this time. Like, you know, if you're just sitting around not doing anything, make sure you're doing, you know, make sure you write that novel, start that business, all of that, which I think is very problematic. But, you know, that's another story.
Well, yes, it is problematic.
Have you felt forced to produce, to write, to give us another book?
Well, no, because I'm actually really I'm one of those people who I always take on too much anyway. I'm always trying to do 6 billion things. I have a billion ideas, and if you knew the difference between a billion and a million, and I have a billion ideas, and then I try and do a million things, and I get to 1,000 of them. You know, so for me, that pressure that people put on themselves and they put on other people. You know, it's you need to do this, and you're just wasting your time. And you need to why? Because sometimes, you know what? Sometimes just getting out of bed is a big achievement, and you need to celebrate that. I mean, obviously for me, I found that, you know, my not having time to exercise was just because I didn't want to. I just didn't want to.
I saw a meme the other day, and it's so me. It was like, I started off out of shape, then I got in shape, and now I'm back out of shape because I just can't bother. I'm like, I've done all of this, and no one's gonna see it.
I know. My poor me. I've had I say poor me in a joking way, but one of my friends said, do you want to start a Zoom exercise thing? So I was like, yeah, why not? So we started doing that every morning because a couple of them had to go to work. So we got sort of like, we're getting up in the morning. And I've been doing it for 6 months. I've been exercising for 6 months. No, but it's really bad because I feel better for it. So all these years I've been pretending that I didn't have time, and, you know, it wasn't going to make a difference. It really does make a difference. So I'm really resenting because I have to keep up now, don't I? I have to keep going, or I just got to go downhill again. So that's not been great for lockdown. You know, finding a new love of exercise and the necessity to exercise. Bless me. And the other thing I've been doing in lockdown is my hair because of I've been watching your videos.
I can see it's grown as well. It looks lovely.
Yeah, I did a bit of a chop. I did a bit of a chop the other day, but I took it out of. I'm sure people are really interested.
They are. Everyone's interested in Dorothy's hair. Everyone say yes if you're interested in what Dorothy's doing with her hair.
I put it in extensions at the beginning of lockdown because I was doing lots of events. So I was like, I haven't got time to keep doing it, and then took them out a few days ago, and then I sort of chopped the ends off. And then so I've been trying to do some of your mixes, and I was, I try so hard to do what you do, and my husband looks at me and he goes, right, so you and Jamelia, twins, yes,
we're
that worked.
Tell him.
that worked, didn't it, Koomson? Yes, I know.
Stop it. So you know what? Talking about this. Okay, so I said earlier, like, about the fact that you kind of provide representation. And I know I asked you about this when you came on the table, but I think, you know, I'd love for you to kind of just speak about this here. For me, one of the most important and significant things about you is that you provided normal stories that put Black women at the center. Now, was that intentional? Was it like, I'm going to write stories about Black women, or did it just so happen to be like that?
Well, it was kind of like, I wanted to tell stories, and I'm a Black woman, so I want to read stories where people look like me, and, you know, they do the things, because we all have these crazy things happen to us. Our lives aren't defined by racism and sexism and all that. I just wanted to tell stories, and, you know, yes, that's a huge element of our lives. It can be a huge element of our lives, but I wanted to tell a story about a woman who leaves her life and then meets this guy who keeps staring at her, or another one who sort of like ends up having a one-night stand with her best friend, and a male best friend, and then they end up sort of like in this weird relationship, or all these stories about people who got into a relationship with their teachers. And I wanted to tell stories, and because I'm a Black woman, I deserve to be the hero, and I've always said this, you know. And then I saw Chadwick Boseman had been saying the same thing separately, that, you know, we all deserve to be the hero of our own stories. You know, we all deserve to see people who look like us doing things, doing normal things, and not being in a certain role. And absolutely, I just want to tell stories, and I want Black women to be at the heart of the stories. And I don't want us to be perfect, or just one role or just this role or just that role. I want us to be every woman. We can be every woman and be. That's what my books are about. Hopefully.
Yeah. Absolutely, and yeah, I definitely think you achieve that, because every book, it's kind of like a different type of me. I might not even have anything in common other than the fact that we're both Black, but it's beautiful to read the story. I'm like, oh, because I think even like as a younger woman, you kind of, it's like permission. It's like, you could be like this, you could do that, you know, this could happen to you and you can still survive. Like, I don't know. It's
absolutely,
to know these things.
And also, yeah, absolutely is. And also, it's really important for dark-skinned Black women to know that they can be the love interest, you know, that they are beautiful, and you know, and that they are beautiful and they are the star of the story, and they don't have to be the star. They have to be second best to anybody, and that's what I want. And you know, like I say, you know, not everyone's going to like Emily's story, but you know what? It's my story. That's
absolutely. Well, you're the writer, so you
and absolutely, and it's a story that other people can relate to, and if they can't relate to it, they've still read the story. I think everybody needs to know that Black women, just like white women, just like Asian women, just like all sorts of women, can be the star of a story. It doesn't have to be just one type of person who's the hero or the love interest or the kooky best friend. You know, anyone can be it, and we can all be the main character.
Absolutely. And have you ever endured any pressure from outside to, you know, change your characters or have them a little bit more urban? Listen, if I hear the word urban again,
no. See, the thing is, I'm actually really, really I mean, I come across as really, really nice and sort of like I'm trying to think of the nice words, soft
you're
and a bit silly, but I'm actually really not. I'm actually really difficult. So.
We love a difficult woman.
And I say difficult in a sense of, but people have tried not to make my characters urban, because God knows what is urban. I mean, how do I know?
Exactly.
But you know, they've said things to me, and I've just been like, yeah, nah, that's not going to happen. Thanks. I'm sorry about that. You know, but I'm not actually. It's actually really difficult to get me to do anything I don't want to do.
Okay.
As is evidenced by me and my exercise thing. But I know. So I've been fortunate. I haven't had that, but I know other people have, and that's something that I'm very aware of, and that's why you know, a few months back I wrote an open letter to the publishing industry, basically saying that it was a hostile environment for Black people. Yeah. Black writers, because I've been fortunate, but I've still had the odd thing happen to me, and not the odd thing. I've had things happen to me, but I know other people have had it a lot worse, and I know I'm not one of those people who can just think I'm all right, Jack. I need to, you know, I need to. So when I was writing that letter, I was writing it for all the other people who don't have a voice, who have the fear that if they say anything, they're going to lose their career. You know, it was a thought in my mind, but you know what? I had to say something because I was done with what I was hearing and seeing and reading. But yeah, I think people should all stand up. We should stand up for each other. We should just stick together.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But that's not to say that we all have the same experiences, or we all should be telling the same story, or that we're all going to get on, or we're all going to love each other's books, because we're allowed to do rubbish as well. You know, we're allowed to write rubbish. Black people are allowed to write rubbish. Absolutely. And we're allowed to write the book of wedding, as well as utter trash or utter, you know, erotica or romantic comedies. That's what we should be allowed to do, and give the freedom to do whatever we want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So where do you get your ideas for your characters from?
I usually have an idea of the story or the plot or a little snippet or something. Okay. And that's usually from see, this lockdown's not been as good for this, but eavesdropping. Oh, okay. Listening to people's conversations, you know, where they sit there on their mobile phone talking like they're in their own house. Yeah. And then you're listening to that's a good one. That's good. I'll end up in that's a good conversation. I'm going to follow her around the supermarket listening. I like doing, and also, you know, things in newspapers. You'll see, you see a snippet of something on the news, or you know, and sometimes you'd have a conversation with somebody and they will they'll really annoy you, and you think, right, I'm getting you back by writing you into my book, which is what I absolutely do.
Yeah.
And people pretend they don't, but they do.
Yeah.
You don't like someone, you just write them into it. That's the whole point of being a writer. You kind of just, so there's all different. But a lot of the time I come up with a what if scenario. I'll have an idea of something and I think, oh, what if this happened? So, for example, with All My Lies Are True, what if Verity, Serena's daughter, found out what her mother was like, having had a really good relationship with her? And what if she kind of found that out through Poppy's brother? And what if something happened between them?
Sorry, I haven't got COVID. I don't know. Sorry, I know this is going to sound really silly, right? Every time I cough, I get really nervous because I'm like, please don't think that I've got it. I haven't got it. But then I can't stop coughing.
It's not silly at all, but everyone's worries, isn't it?
Anyway, sorry, that was so rude of me.
No, it wasn't rude at all. So, and then you kind of go, what if this, and this? And so that's how it kind of develops that story, and you kind of build on that with the elements that you've had from various sources.
So do you kind of like, sorry, I'm getting a bit deep here, but do you like decide on like a character's role in your book, and then do you have like a spider diagram? Do you draw out things like to say, well, they're gonna do this, they're gonna have look like this, do you do all of that? Sorry, I'm not a writer, so I don't know how it works.
Sometimes that's an absolutely valid question. Sometimes I do that, but it's usually I will write down bits of their personalities, because usually when I have a character, I have an idea of what they look like in my head. They kind of come fully formed, and I don't choose what they look like. I don't think, oh, that person needs to be this. I just think, oh, that's the person. This is that person. But also I need to write down bits of their story, the bits of the story that don't necessarily make it into the book, but that inform who they are. For example, you know, they used to live in London, but now they live in Brighton, or they used to drink coffee and now they drink tea with 5 sugars. You know, little things like that, which make them real for me when I'm writing about them. Sort of the things you don't need to put into the book, but kind of, you know. So sometimes I do that, and then sometimes I have a notice board, which you can see the edge of it over there, and I put all the different post-it notes on there of the plot and what's going to happen. And sometimes I just have it in my head. Sometimes I would have a character fully formed in my head, and then I realize that they're just not. This isn't a book for you, so you need to. To sit aside.
So you've got like personalities parked,
And maybe this isn't the revenge book for that particular person. They need to come for the next book, or this is a storyline that I really want to tell, and then it's like, nah, this isn't right. I just need to move on from that. So
Oh, that's amazing. So no pressure, I promise you, but have you started thinking about the next book?
Well, yeah, the next book deadline is in 2 months.
What?
Yeah. What? End of October, I was meant to be in. Oh, I'm scared now.
How do you? Okay. I need more information. How does this work? So, like, how many books do you need to churn out? Like,
I need to write a book a year. That's my job. A book a year.
A book a year?
Yeah.
So how long does it take you to write a book?
It's going to take me about 3 weeks at the rate I'm going now.
No, what have you been doing?
That was a joke. That was a joke. No, it takes between 6 months and a year. I mean, physical writing doesn't take as long as the thinking about it and the planning it and the researching and talking to people and finding out about the story. I mean, this current story, it's very well formed in my head. I haven't finished writing it yet. So with my editors on here, I've so nearly finished, Jen.
It's almost done. Don't worry about it.
It's almost done. Don't worry. But I almost always hit my deadline, even if I'm just a week out or something. I almost always hit my deadline.
Yeah, I'm sure they give you kind of like some buffer space anyway. I've got another question. So, today I saw that Ice Cream Girls was made into like a mini series.
Yeah.
Are they going to do the same for All My Lies Are True?
Well, if they did that,
yeah,
they'd have to redo the first one because the ending, the characters, and a lot of the stuff, it was changed in the first.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched it, so I didn't. Okay, okay.
They're two very different things. And when this All My Lies Are True was coming out, I had to write a thing on my website to say, if you just watch the TV series, then you need to know this is the differences and it's got a different ending.
Oh wow!
Because if we went with the TV ending, All My Lies Are True couldn't happen. So I doubt it. So we'd have to remake the first one and then do the second one.
Yeah. So. Right now, I'm asking this for totally selfish reasons. Are you going to write a sequel to Tell Me Your Secret? I mean, there is a way. I'll think about how, but there is.
Oh, I know how it could. I know how the story could go. Okay. Yeah, but I'm not going to do it. No.
Oh, why? Please.
Well, because it's in development. It's in kind of. It's been optioned now, so I'd have to.
What is going on the big screen?
No, it's been optioned for TV or big screen.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So so that's kind of in status now. You can't really. You can, but you can't. But I have some other things to do, and no, sorry, I don't do sequels.
You are actually hilarious. You're actually hilarious. So, who is your favorite writer? or a book that you've read recently that you. Sorry, that was too big of a question. What's the most recent book that you read and loved? You must have read loads in lockdown. No?
I read some in lockdown. No, I read quite a few. I've read quite a few. I read Love in Colour by Bola Babalola. Yes, that's good.
Yes.
I read If I Can't Have You by Sarita Domingo. Yeah, I have read that one. I'm nearly finishing Cane Warriors by Alex Wheatle.
And I just received that yesterday.
Yeah, it's a great book. Great book. And what else? I've sent quite a few. There's one book I'm reading at the moment, which is coming out in October, which I need to finish. And there's quite a few. I've got quite a few on my list of things, that are there.
Okay, so I did want to ask another question, and again, this is just purely just out of curiosity. There's quite a few books that I've read recently or bought recently, and you've given them like a little, accreditation, like Dorothy Koomson basically. Do you read all of the books that you're giving that for?
Yes.
You read the whole thing?
Yes. I don't read very quickly either, so this is what I'm saying. I have so many things to do, and I keep taking on more things. But I have to sit there and sort of like.
So are you ever given a book that you don't like?
Don't ask me that sort of question.
I'm just no, because I'm just saying, like, if somebody gives you a book to do what's it called? It's not an accreditation. What's it called? Oh,
you just do a quote for them, yeah.
Yeah,
you try and do a quote for them, yeah.
So you'll always give them a positive.
No, I won't. Sometimes I genuinely don't have time to read them. That's why, because I actually read it, and so I need to do justice to it. So some books I don't have time for. So, but I will give a quote to the ones that I read and enjoy.
Okay.
Some questions that.
Okay. All right. Dorothy's like, shut up.
Trying to get me in trouble here.
You should get a professional to interview you, not me. Like, I'm just asking all the questions like a child. Like, so what about this? Sorry.
You can ask me whatever you like. I'll just answer.
It's not that. Okay, so if I was if I was a Black writer in lockdown, decided to, to write the book that everyone's telling me to write, what would your advice be when it comes to, and I'm talking about just a normal person who just loves to write, feels like a talented writer. What do they do? What do you do after you've written the thing? I'm very sorry, that's my daughter in the background. Hi,
fine.
Babe. Okay.
That's what it's all about, isn't it, nowadays? People coming in and asking for biscuits and stuff. I think it's great.
I'm literally like in the corner of my house, and obviously they find me. But anyway, sorry, I can't even remember my question now.
Oh, what do you do if you've written a book and you've one of the first things I would say with when you've written a book is to put it aside for a couple of weeks if you can bear it.
Okay.
Because you need to step away from it for a bit. And then come back to it and pick it up as though you've just bought it, okay? As if you've just spent your hard-earned money on it.
Okay.
And then read it again like you are somebody who's just bought it, because your reading experience from somebody who's written it and somebody who's just bought it is completely different. So do it like that, and then you'll see. Because when you've spent your money on something, you're really harsh on it, aren't you? You're really hard, and you need to be harsh on it. Don't tell yourself that you're a terrible person or a terrible writer. But just see where, if someone else had written it, the plot holes would have come. Would you think, oh, that's a big plot hole, or that's implausible, that wouldn't happen, and then change it from that point of view. Sort of from the point of view of somebody else reading it, and then get it into as good a shape as possible, and then send it off to agents and publishers. Things are different now, because a lot of the publishers and agents and stuff are being a lot more open-minded than they were. And a lot of them are getting training to show that their unconscious bias. So, when they pick up a book and they go, oh, that doesn't appeal to me because I can't connect with the character, then maybe it's just because there's something wrong with you, not something wrong with the book, So I'm being hopeful that a lot of the Black Lives Matter stuff that came to the forefront again, that it has had this positive effect, that the publishing world is opening up and people are not going to be as negative towards Black writers,
of course,
and that they're also not just going to do that. Oh, we've got one of them. We've got a Dorothy Koomson. We've got a Maria Black, and we don't need anybody else. I'm hoping they think that all sorts of stories can be told by all sorts of different people.
Of course.
And once you've sent it off, don't sit around waiting to hear back. Get on with the next one, because the best way to get a good publishing deal is to have another book to say, look here, I've got another one. I'm doing another one. Because you want to have a career. You don't want to just have one book. And there are people who've just written one book and are still living off the back of one book. And that's fine. But if you want to have a career as a writer, if you want to write 16 books, 17 books, just get on with the next one. Don't sit there obsessing over the one you've sent out.
Yeah, of course. Whilst you've been talking, I've just noticed, is your mantelpiece made of books?
I've got a whole bookshelf. Yes, my wall is of books. I did it for my Zoom background, became a wall of books.
And it's made of books?
All my books, yes.
I love that. Oh, that's incredible. Yes. I absolutely love that. Sorry. Yeah, if anybody else spotted it, I've pointed it out for you. Okay, so what was are you a little bit, not a little bit, in fact, I'm not going to ask you, right? So recently I have become a little bit, should I say, exhausted by the amount of books off the back of the Black Lives Matter movement, talking about race and an injustice and blah blah blah. And like you said earlier, I am the type of reader that would just love to just read stories. Do you think that we are going to see a wave of stories, or do you think that Black people are going to be let in the door by doing these racially, centering our books around race? What do you think is more lucrative for a writer right now? A Black writer, sorry.
I think what's lucrative for a Black writer is to write the book you want to write. Don't chase the money, don't chase the trend, don't chase anything other than the story that's inside you or the book that's inside you that you want to write. Because you know what, seriously, you're going to get rejected a lot. I was rejected by everybody twice. And, you know, the only thing that kept me going was knowing that I believed in what I was writing. I wasn't writing to try and get published or to make millions of pounds, because good luck with that. Yeah. Not like that at all. But just write the story that's for you, the story that you need to tell and that you want to tell, because, you know, all these things, they come and go because people who work in those things come and go. So someone who's commissioning all sorts of these certain types of books now, they can move on, and then, you know, and then you're stuck with somebody who's just not interested. So write the book that you want to write the story you want to tell, whether it's non-fiction or fiction, and stick to it. You know, because that, as I said to you, that is what keeps you going when everything else is going wrong and you're being rejected and you're being told this, and this. Because if you know that your story, you believe in it. Like I say, I was rejected by everybody. All the agents rejected my first book, and not my second book. So I had a publisher for that. But my third book, when that was sent out, pretty much everyone rejected it again. You know, went on to sell nearly 1 million copies across the world, translated into 30 odd languages. But you know, so that's what I think you should do. I think you should try and drown out what people are asking you to do. That's what I was saying about me being difficult. By difficult, I mean I stand up for myself and I stick to what I want to do and what story I want to tell. And, you know, sometimes it doesn't work and sometimes it doesn't come off. But at least I know that I can look at myself in the mirror and think I did the best I could.
Of course. Where do you think you get your confidence from?
I don't know, because I don't think I have confidence. I think it's more believing in that I and other Black women and other Black people deserve to have as much as everybody else out there. I mean, you know, it's not been easy. And I've been through quite a lot. And, you know, there have been so many times when I have been the only Black person in the room and you have to stand up, you have to say things, and people are like looking at you like, you know, you know, you're spoiling their fun, or you're ruining everything. You'll just be too sensitive, and, you know, and you have to stand up. You know, you just have to. I mean, I'm not always confident. You know, sometimes you see conversations I had with my husband, and he's like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay." You know, I can't believe I'm putting these faces in front of everybody.
Oh, please, it's real. We love it.
But you know, I don't know. I have to pick myself up. There's lots of times I have to pick myself up and then carry on. And partly because, you know, women, particularly Black women and young Black women and Black girls, have said to me over the years, you know, you were the first time that I realised that I could be the hero or the love interest. And the fact that I could do that for somebody is amazing. And it has always been amazing when people have told me this, and I've been like, you know, thank you. Wow. I mean, wow. And then I went to see Black Panther a couple of years ago, and that was the first time I understand the utter liberation of finally feeling like somebody out there is like somebody external to you is like you, and and feel important. So I put a good show on of being really confident, but I'm probably not.
No, I don't think it's a show. I think you're incredibly brave, and and I'm so grateful for all that you've done and all that you've fought for. You know, your non-conformist attitude has been a beacon for so many, and I don't play that down. Like,
I know, but you have as well, though. Don't forget, you know, the things you've been through and the things that you've had to put up with. I mean, it's been pretty.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think it's the same for any Black woman. If you're willing to put yourself, above the precipice. Is that the word? Well, I don't even know what the word is, but that parapet. That's the one. if you're willing to do that, then you're also. I don't know. I do think you have an element of bravery, because it means that I'm willing to do this because I really believe in what it is I'm doing, and and it's so important. And from me to you, I'm so grateful, like truly, truly thankful. Anyway, sorry. I'm gonna read a question that came from the stage. So guys, if any of you have any questions for Dorothy, feel free to comment and I will read them out. So this one's from Angie Hinkson. If Dorothy could have written any classic or modern book, which would she pick?
The Cupid Effect.
The Cupid Effect. I don't think I've even watched. I've read that.
I wrote that. That's my first book.
You wrote that? I was like, what? Is it a film?
No, it's fine. I wrote it. No.
I have read it. No, I have read it because I'm thinking I've heard it. I've heard it.
No, I'm only joking. No, because there's so many people. There's so many books you love, and then you think, but I could have written that because I am who I am. So I can't. Yeah. I'm a bit. That's a bit of a cheeky reply. I'm trying to think. There's so many. Do you know what my real problem of late has been? Books that I've really enjoyed, I really loved, and then you look back now and you see how problematic they are. So you can't really read them again, and you can't really put them on your list of all-time favourites because. But
that's a shame, because at the time, if you enjoyed it, then it was because I believe like books are kind of like listening to songs sometimes. I mean, I did reread The Ice Cream Girls because obviously you told me that you were doing All My Lies Are True, so I remember rereading it. And as I said, I was in a totally different space and place when I read it, and it was kind of like, oh my God. And as I said, it's kind of like you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I've grown. And then I read All My Lies Are True, and it was like, I'm more here now,
Absolutely. And I don't know, but I don't know, how do you, it's like, one of the books that I really used to, one of my classics that I loved was Rebecca.
Okay.
By Daphne du Maurier.
Yeah.
And I loved that book. And then I did research for The Ice Cream Girls. And I was like, Max the Winter kept coming into my head. Max the Winter. I was like, I can't read it again because he could be the Cooper. Looking back now.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of not, he's not great.
Yeah.
Poor Rebecca, what was she going through?
Yeah.
I have to to one side.
I do think kind of progression, especially and social media, and this might sound like a very problematic thing to say, but it does kind of, it highlights things that you definitely would not have even thought of, and then it's like, I can't enjoy that anymore.
No, absolutely, you can't. I know you can't. I know. I remember one of the film that I used to really like. I'm not going to tell you because I can't even go there. And then one of the stars started being really problematic, and then the other star started being really problematic. And my husband was like, "Oh man, I thought they were one of the good ones, So we've had to chuck it out." And that was one of the reasons why we got together. And it's like,
we've got another question here from Samantha. So Samantha is a bookseller, and she said, I never knew about Dorothy's books until recently. What? Why did marketing and publicity not reach out to Black booksellers booksellers who focus on Black or brown content? And then she's put, secondly, how much say do authors have in the marketing of the books and where they are stocked and promoted? Really interesting question.
Yeah, basically authors have no say in it, and if your name is a particular name, you have no say in where your books are stocked and marketed, and my current publishers particularly try really hard to reach out to all sorts of people, and they do their best.
I can second that. They're amazing.
And they go to as many independent booksellers as possible, but things slip through the cracks. I mean, with All My Lies Are True, particularly, we had a massive thing at Round Table Books in Brixton with in the window, you know, a huge window display, which was like amazing. We used to have to pay thousands and thousands for any other, and they're a black-owned bookshop.
Yeah.
Who you know that they are owned by Knights of, you know, the Knights of.
Yeah.
And there's more of you now, and I'm finding out more every day. I'm actively looking for black-owned bookshops, black-owned products to try and, you know, try and support these companies.
Yeah. So apologies for seeming or for being controversial, but do you sorry, I'm really trying to think of how do I ask this question. Like, is it not better for you to be in more mainstream shops? You know, like the massive mainstream shops. Not to say you don't want to be in my smaller ones.
Generally are. I am very fortunate. My books generally are in mainstream, mainstream books. But if you don't get a supermarket, for example, then it's difficult to make the sales.
Of course.
But I want to be everywhere. I want to be everywhere. I want to be.
To be honest,
I want to be everywhere. So you know,
I interacted with your books. I first came into contact with your books just in airports and in like massive bookshops. And I'm not going to lie, probably for the first 4 or 5 books I read, I didn't know you were black. But then I found out you were black, and I was like, oh my gosh!
The thing is, though, with that it's when I was first published, I wouldn't let them put my picture on the books because I knew what they would do is, and they stopped doing this, but they used to do it a lot, was just shove your book into the black section, and you'd be stuck there.
Joking.
And the black section was usually right at the back of the
in the corner. Small.
Yeah. So you have to, and so what I wanted was to be with everybody else. You know, yes, a black section is absolutely necessary, and I'd love to be in there, but I also like to be out there because I want everyone to read my books. Everyone should read our books. Everyone
isn't that interesting?
Are the main characters.
Yeah. It's very interesting that you even had the wherewithal to make that decision to take your photo off it. You know, most people would put their photos on, but I'm sure it made, as you said, like, I mean, I read your books for years not knowing you were black.
Yeah, but main characters are black, and you can tell that they're black.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, for me.
It's not only white people, not only black people who write black characters, so.
All right, we've got a few more questions here. So Loretta Jones, do you like horror, fantasy, or sci-fi? I've started watching Lovecraft Country on HBO, which is based on a book of the same name. I'm really into it, especially when they have black main characters. Blood and Bone is another one. I need to watch both of them.
Yeah, I haven't seen Blood and Bone. I've heard of the book. I love sci-fi. I love fantasy. I love it. I love it. You know, since I was little, I've been into it, and that's why, you know, Black Panther meant so much to me because, you know, since a child I've loved sci-fi. I've loved superheroes, and it was just like, wow, this is for the first time. There were these women, dark-skinned women who, like, you know, I don't do horror really because I get scared.
Yeah, same.
You know, I can't watch horror. I don't have HBO, so I can't watch it. I don't have a lot of channels.
I think that it's on, like, I don't know, like.
I'll have a look at the other things, like, but yes, because I've got all this time in the world to do everything. Watch telly.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. Okay, Chantel Dooley, which one of your books would you recommend to someone who has never read one? That's a good question.
Oh, what? All of them. Get all of them. Just treat yourself.
Start from the beginning, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, because it's actually funny because my my mother-in-law was given my best friend's girl. Even though I've been married to her son for a couple of years, somebody gave her my best friend's girl and said, read this book, it's brilliant. And she started laughing because she said, oh, my son's married to her. But she read it.
Yeah.
And she said, and she really enjoyed it. And so she's read them ever since. But she'd then she read the Cupid Effect, and she said if she'd read the Cupid Effect first, she wouldn't have read anything else. So
really,
yeah.
Oh wow,
she's very honest.
Wow,
So when she says she likes something, I know she means it, because she would tell me she didn't.
Yeah. Oh no, I what would I would recommend. I think I would recommend.
Well, it depends what they like, though.
You recommended Chocolate Run to me, which I hadn't read at the time you recommended, and I absolutely loved that. It's like a kind of romantic comedy rom-com kind of thing.
Yes, if you like that, then go for that. But if you like a thriller, maybe Tell Me Your Secret, or if you like the thing, I love a drama.
Tell Me Your Secret. I was just like, I can just see this. I could see this as one of those, those moody TV shows. Like, I love Tell Me Your Secret. I think I love Tell Me Your Secret the most, but I don't want to recommend people go start at the end. Like,
no, you don't start there, though.
Yeah, like
they might scare you.
Yeah. Yeah. So your next book, is it going? What's the genre?
It's kind of family drama, but kind of a bit of thriller, a bit of romance, bit of comedy. But that's why I tried to do all my books. So it's just a different. Yeah. The mix is different. Yeah. The balance. We get the balance. So well, that's what I say now. Who knows by the time I finished it, what's it going to be like? It could be anything. It could be long form poetry.
Oh my! Which young writer excites you at the moment?
Oh, there's loads of them. There's a girl called TC. Did you ever hear of her?
What's her name? Sorry, TC.
Talisha TC Johnson. She self-published her own book.
Okay.
And it was called Snow Black and the Seven Rastas, the first one, and then she did the second one. She's from Birmingham as well, so you should.
I think. Do you know what? I think I know the name.
Yeah.
I probably got it.
Yes, it's a great little book. She did. Yeah. She worked really hard on it. Oh, there's lots of writers who I love. I've been interviewing people on my website.
Okay.
So if people want to get recommendations, go on my website. There's about 5 authors who you can try, who you might not have heard of before, who try it. But there's loads of them. There's loads of people coming up, and it's great. Because Thingy, who was on with me on the table at your table,
JJ Bowler.
Yes, he's got a new deal now, isn't he? I'm quite excited to read that. I know he's very exciting. And like I said, the Alex Wheatle book's really good as well. Yes. There's loads.
Yeah. Oh, wicked. I love that we have this abundance of choice. I now have literally a pile of books that I need to read. Like, to be honest, the last book that I read was All My Lies Are True. I was sick in bed, and I was just like, because it's a lovely thick book, like.
Yeah, I know it is. It's a proper thick book.
Some time to get through, because I'm not like an avid reader. Like my daughter, she can just go through books in like days. Takes me a couple of weeks. I don't know if I should even admit that, but it does.
But
it was brilliant though. It was such a good read. Like, it was absolutely amazing. Absolutely loved it. So they're saying, Talisha is local and she does a lot of work with CBBC. I'm definitely going to look out for that. I feel, has she got like different coloured extensions? Yes, I do know her.
Yeah, she's great.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. If I haven't got it, I will make sure that I do have it. I feel like we've done our hour, and
yes, we have.
Are there any more?
Well, then we've kind of taken up a lot of time, haven't we? I'm so sorry again that we started so late. I really wish we could have been on time.
It's been amazing. Okay, sorry, I've clicked on something else now, and there's like loads of comments. Oh no, what am I supposed to read it? Here's Daddy. Hey,
Daddy. Hello. How are you doing? Oh my gosh, you've still got like questions in the chat box. There's so much going on, which just shows how amazing this talk has been. I've literally been sat there like, oh my gosh, like thinking about what books I'm going to read now and all the books I haven't read. It's been absolutely like wonderful to just sit here and listen to this talk. It's been Yeah, it doesn't matter that it started late because it feels like it's just been.
Yeah, it was worth the wait.
It's been really lovely to just hear you both speaking and being able to hear more about Dorothy's kind of work, and also what that even means to kind of be together and what it means to put out a book, and then also to be like, hey, I'm going to write some more, you know, and being in that situation to just kind of keep going. I think sometimes we can feel get kind of out of the jig of things, especially when we're in kind of times that we're in, like right now, like
absolutely
you can't go on a tour and you can't just do the normal things, or well, maybe not the normal things, but the things that we're used to doing. So I just want to say thank you both so much for this talk, and for kind of just yourselves and really taking us into an amazing evening. I just want to say to everyone that's here that we're actually going to reschedule the post-event talk. So everyone who signed up to this talk will get a link and a little bit of a thing to say when that's happening, because I think it would be really important kind of on the back of this to speak about kind of reading in society and what that looks like and what the future is of that. So we will also do that. So for anyone who is sad that it's not happening, don't be, we're going to reschedule and it's going to happen. So yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jamelia. Thank you, Dorothy. It's been
thank you for having me.
Wonderful. You're always welcome on our stage anytime.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dorothy. Lovely to speak
thank
to
you. You're so lovely.
Thanks for having me, Danny.
Thank you. Bye bye.